There's something called myelinogenesis. When you put insulation around specific nerves, which is called myelin, they conduct electricity 3,000 times faster than unmyelinated nerves. The way you put myelin around your nerves is you practice something, like dating, like anything else. Practice makes perfect. Practice also makes myelin. So does eating a lot of fat, which is what myelin is made out of. If you don't eat the fat, it's hard to make the myelin, and your practice doesn't stick as fast. Synaptogenesis is the other thing that you do. When you think about something, including being happy or being successful, the parts of your brain that do that get exercised just like your muscles get exercised. And when you do that, you build new synapses. And when you build new synapses, then you can put myelin around your nerves, and you can continue to improve this. We have MRI studies showing that you change the physical structure of your brain as you do things with what you think about and even what you feel. From there, top 6 biohacking upgrades. It's hard to see on this, but this is like a cool biohacker laboratory set up at the bottom here. Number 6, this is quick and simple. Strengthen your immune system with the sunshine vitamin, vitamin D3. How many of you in here take vitamin D3? Look at this. We've got a good portion, maybe a third. The rest of you, what the hell is wrong with you? Sorry, it's like $3 a month for the amount that you're likely to need. And if you do this, by the way, the amount you need, 1,000 IUs per 25 pounds of body weight, according to the Vitamin D Research Council. I recommend a $40 blood test to see what your levels are so you can actually titrate to get them there. Some people respond well, some people don't respond as well. This will bump your numbers up pretty substantially. The reason you do this is that having vitamin D levels that are adequate will actually be more effective in stopping the flu than a vaccine against the flu. It also stops things like cancer, heart disease. It doesn't stop heart disease, but it diminishes your chances of it, and it reduces inflammation. Vitamin D is involved in more than 1,000 processes throughout your body. It'll take months after you start taking it to fill up all of the different metabolic pathways that need to be filled up with the stuff. It's cheap and it's simple, and if you're not doing it, you're just shortchanging yourself. It also affects mental function. If you're brown, you need more. The reason is that we form this when we're in sunlight without clothes and without any sunscreen on. If you have dark skin, or if you especially have dark skin and live in a northern environment like Canada, where I am, it is vitally important that you get your vitamin D, because you're optimized to make vitamin D after all day in the sun near the equator. And if you're not near the equator, or you're in an office building under fluorescent lights all day, you've got no vitamin D. Sunlight does other things besides vitamin D, and you still should be in the sun without sunscreen whenever you can. But at a minimum, make sure you do this. We actually have cases in the US now of really caring parents who restrict the sunlight that their kids are exposed to so much that kids get rickets. Yes, and there's even cases, especially among black people, who have the highest need for vitamin D because they respond less to sunlight, where parents are accused of beating their kids because their kids have broken bones. The bones are broken because there's not enough vitamin D to put calcium in the bones. There's no abuse going on. And it's one of those tragedies happening that costs $3 a month to fix. So for your own sake, and for the sake of those people around you, take your vitamin D. It's just easy. Maintain your hardware. This is a picture of the Bulletproof diet. It's an infographic, one page you print out, you put on your fridge. It'll summarize all of the knowledge you need to know. It's related to paleo. It's not derived on paleo. It's derived from biochemistry and biohacking. It's paleo with less toxins, and I'll explain why. There's no cost. There was 6 weeks to make the infographic. There's more than 1,000 references that went into the research that makes it. If you eat that diet and you exercise at high intensity for short duration, in fact, I'm pretty sure you'll hear about that with the Body by Science guidelines. I have links to Body by Science, which is Dr. McGuff's work, linked to from the blog, and it's totally worth understanding this. If you want to have more time, let's see, you just took your vitamin D, so now you don't get sick as much and your body works better than it did. Now you have more time for work or for dating. And as you go down here, you get, okay, do I want to work out every day? Or do I want to work out every other day? Or do I want to work out for 45 minutes a month? I'm not the most ripped guy in this room, but I think I work out the least amount of anyone in this room. I also don't sleep nearly enough compared to what most people have to do in order to generate muscle. And that's because I've optimized these things over time. Here's the basic tenets of the diet. Divide your calories like this. Tons of fat, 50 to 70%. Your animal protein, about 20% of calories. I'm going to plug a product here because I brought some for you guys. This is upgraded whey. This is a whey protein that I formulated myself to be the most effective whey because 20% of it is a pharmaceutical grade bovine serum albumin extract, which is the active ingredient in whey that gives you the most immune function. A couple tablespoons of that a day raises immune function, things like that. This is an animal source protein. So is the one I recommend most of all, beef, lamb, eggs, things like that. That's what you want to do. The idea that you're going to eat soy or wheat or just that protein is total BS. Vegetables, up to 20% of calories. It's hard to eat 20% of your calories from vegetables. Actually really hard. Don't force it. If it's only 10%, you'll be fine. And fruit or starch, up to 5% of calories, but not a lot every day. I recommend you do some starch of a specific form that's all in the Bulletproof diet basically once a week, maybe every 3 to 7 days if you're exercising a ton. But other than that, you want to really focus on fat for breakfast, fat and protein for lunch, and fat and protein for dinner, and veggies whenever you feel like it. Here's the variables, and no one teaches how to think about food like this that I've come across. The first thing you look at is macronutrients. Does it have the right kinds of protein? Does it have the right kinds of fat? Does it have the right kinds of, or lack the right kinds of starch? If that's right, then you go on to the next step. Does it contain anti-nutrients in it? Because what's the point of eating something, oh, it has the right amount of fat, but it has a bunch of things that move my needle backwards. They make me less healthy. That's the part that lots of nutritionists skip entirely in favor of number 3, micronutrients. Oh, it has potassium in it. I have a diabetic friend who weighs about 380 pounds, and this guy's, oh, I'm eating bananas. I'm like, what are you doing eating bananas? You have diabetes. He says, well, I have potassium, I have high blood pressure. Like, he clearly didn't understand this, okay? This one was wrong, and he went right here. And if the banana was black with spots in it, he was getting a lot of anti-nutrients from the fungus that makes the spots, which is called Fusarium. So you just need to pay attention. That's the order of operations for food. If you get this, when you look at a soybean, you'll recognize that you really shouldn't eat it or even feed it to the things you're going to eat. I don't know how to put it any more bluntly. Calories are mostly a scam. If you want to measure your food, you can weigh it in grams or calories. But to sort of make a point here, it's the quality of what you eat. It's possible to eat too much and get slightly heavier from that, but I did an experiment, 4,000 calories a day with tons of butter and fat using the Bulletproof diet, a low carb, even lower carb than that, for 2 years. I grew a six-pack during that time. I slept less than 5 hours a night, 4,000 calories a day, and I didn't exercise at all for 2 years. My markers of inflammation were low. My autonomic nervous system stress levels were low. I did a whole bunch of lab work to try and prove what harm I was doing to myself. I couldn't find it. I'm not saying you need to eat 4,000 calories a day, but I will tell you, 20 to 30% of your calories are going up here. So if you're going to eat a bowl of lettuce and twigs with a light dusting of toxic canola oil on it, and you're going to expect to go out and exercise or go out and have a mentally focused day where you're completely dialed in, or even go on a date and be completely present and on top of yourself, it's not going to happen because your brain